There are sounds that the ears hear, and then there are vibrations that only the soul recognizes. The world calls it a ringing, but you feel it as a pull, a signal, a shiver that begins beneath the skin and rises like heat behind your eyes. And if that's been happening to you, especially at night or in moments of quiet, this isn't random. It's spiritual resonance, a hidden language breaking through the veil. And if you carry the letter M with a perfect crescent moon inscribed in the lines of your palms, then I say this with no hesitation. You are not watching this video by accident. You were summoned, not by algorithms, not by coincidence, but by a divine pattern older than the noise of this world. Chosen one, this channel isn't entertainment, it's activation. It is a mirror crafted not for the crowd, but for the marked, for those whose palms were kissed by the unseen. For the souls born into confusion, exile, and overstimulation because they were never meant only make sense to the sleeping. You were born marked not for popularity but for perception. Let them laugh. Let them roll their eyes when you speak of sensations that arrive without explanation. Let them dismiss the truth carved into your very flesh, because what you carry can't be proven to those who were never meant to see it. Your palms aren't just anatomy. They're celestial contracts. Every curve, every fold is a line of code written in a frequency most people will never understand. But you do. And if the ringing has grown louder lately, or if certain numbers have been chasing you, like 727, 144, or 808, you're not imagining things. You're being contacted. Your inner antenna is real, and it's picking up more than static. It's detecting timed frequencies tailored to activate your next spiritual assignment. You might not remember when it started, the ringing, the flickers of knowing, the moments when you knew something before it happened. But they remember. The forces that mark you, the realm that whispered into your bones before you could even speak. Those memories are not fantasies. They are echoes of your origin. Your soul agreed to be a keeper of light in a world drowning in noise. And the ringing you hear? It's not just in your ear. It's in your timeline. A spiritual alert disguised as a physical glitch. Look at your hands right now. Trace them slowly. Find the M. Feel the gentle arc of the crescent moon near your lifeline. If you have both, understand this. You are not here for an ordinary journey. You are a vessel of memory, a keeper of things that were never written in books. Your mission isn't small. That's why your challenges weren't either. Many of you watching this have been through storms that didn't come with warnings, betrayals that cracked open your foundation, long seasons of silence where even prayer felt like it bounced off a closed sky. But somehow here you are, still marked, still hearing, still wondering why the ringing won't stop, why the numbers keep showing up, why strangers feel like past life echoes and your dreams carry scenes that never happened in this life. I'll tell you why. Because your frequency has come online. The veil between your physical and spiritual memory is thinning, and these signs, whether it's the sound, the numbers, or the strange timing of events, are not interruptions. They're instructions. And that's why this space exists. We are not speaking to the world. We are speaking to those whose presence shifts a room without trying. To those who were called dramatic for feeling too much. To those who cry during sunsets or hear whispers in the wind. You are not soft. You are wired differently. And this channel is your echo. It was designed to speak directly to the sacred frequency in your DNA. If you've ever wondered why life felt so hard for you while others seemed to coast through, consider this. God doesn't test the unmarked. He trains the chosen. And your soul carries the blueprint of a breaker of illusions, of ancestral wounds, of spiritual stagnation. You weren't just chosen, you were calibrated, and that calibration cost you comfort. But here's something you need to remember. Spiritual technology never malfunctions. If your ears are ringing at odd hours, especially between 3:30 a.m. and 4:44 a.m., that is not insomnia. That's alignment. That is divine timing, tapping into your subconscious when the world is quiet enough for you to receive. Those tones you hear are signals, and if you've ever felt your heartbeat sync with the sound, know this: your spiritual receiver is tuned. You are live. You've likely noticed that your presence either soothes or stirs others. There's no in-between. That's because your energy field isn't neutral. It's a spiritual mirror, and people project what they're running from when they're around you. That's not your fault. That's your function. Remind others what their spirit has forgotten. But to do that, you had to remember first. And that's what this message is. A reminder. Not from me, but from the universe through me to you. So stay here. Don't scroll. Don't second-guess what brought you here. Your soul is responding because the signal is finally clear. And before we continue, before I explain why your dreams have been stranger, why your body feels heavier even when you're resting, and why the number 727 keeps flashing like a secret code, I want you to do something sacred. Take a breath. Feel the center of your palms, not just as skin, but as a spiritual map. Because in those lines, your destiny is written. And today, you've arrived at a moment of decoding. If this message feels more like a mirror than a video, it's because it was built for souls like yours. You weren't looking for content. You were searching for confirmation. Something to explain the electricity in your chest, the sense that the world has been lately, and yet, you hear something else beneath the noise. Something pulsing. A tone, a rhythm, an invitation. It may show up as a ringing that others ignore, or a sudden stillness in your spirit when certain truths are spoken. This is not a glitch in your body. It is a whisper from your assignment, and your hands, especially if they hold the sacred M and the crescent moon, were not meant to be hidden in plain sight. They were meant to transmit energy, encoded light. The more you deny what you carry, the heavier it becomes. And that's why the signals are growing louder, because your silence is no longer an option. Before we go deeper, let me say this to you as one person to another, not as a narrator, but as someone who's also been through the long nights, the delayed answers, the invisible battles. If this message is stirring something, if it feels like it's speaking directly to the part of you that no one else understands, pause here. Subscribe to this channel, not for vanity metrics, but for alignment. Let this space become the sacred corner of your life where your signals are confirmed, not dismissed. And I have a gentle request. Leave a comment below. Share one theme, one question, one spiritual mystery that's been circling your soul. What do you want this community to explore next? What's been waking you up at night, waiting for a name? Your voice matters. Not just for your healing, but for others like you who are silently searching for someone to say, "I felt that too." Don't worry about sounding poetic or wise. Just be real. Let this place be the first one where you don't need to shrink your truth. Because the moment you speak, you start vibrating differently. And when your vibration shifts, everything around you does too. Let's continue. Have you noticed that the ringing gets louder in certain places or around certain people? That's no accident. The tone you hear isn't just internal. It's relational. Your spirit has become a compass. The Rin. Sharper when you're near misalignment, and softer when you're in the presence of truth. People who carry both the M and the moon often describe this eerie ability to sense deception without proof. You may feel tightness in your chest or a sudden headache when someone lies. That's not paranoia. That's programming. You weren't wired for surface-level reality. You came to pierce illusions. And it's not just about other people. It's also about places. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you were being watched, even though no one was looking? Or stood in nature and felt as though the trees themselves were whispering something to you? That sensitivity is your spiritual radar activating. You see, people like you don't just walk through life. You interact with invisible frequencies that most will never even notice. And that's part of why life has felt so disconnected. Because while others are reacting to what's happening, you're often responding to what's about to happen. Talk about the numbers now. If you've been seeing 144, 727, or 808, this is more than a pattern. It's a soul-based ping, like coordinates being dropped in your field. The number 144 has ancient connotations tied to spiritual governance. It's a frequency of hidden leadership, the kind that leads not through dominance, but through vibration. If this number finds you in strange moments, it means your calling is intensifying. You are no longer being trained. You are being released. 727 is a bridge number, a mirror flanked by mirrors. It often arrives when you're shifting timelines, moving out of karmic entanglements, or preparing to release identities that no longer reflect your higher self. And if you've been struggling lately with people falling away, with losing interest in old goals, with a sudden craving for solitude, it's because your spiritual frequency is rerouting your path. Not through punishment, through precision. Then there's 808. That number is what we call a frequency anchor, a signal that what you speak now will shape your environment. If 808 is following you, be careful with your words. They're carrying more weight than usual. And more than that, your presence is influencing systems around you, not just individuals. Now ask yourself, when did the ringing start? Was it after a traumatic event? Was it when you ended a friendship or left a toxic job or went through an intense spiritual awakening? That's because the ringing isn't just a sound. It's a recalibration. It arrives when your soul steps onto a new path, when your higher self claims more territory in your life. And the letter M on your palm, that's not coincidence. That's your mark of mission. The moon, it's your memory of the mystery. Together, they create a seal, a divine combination that confirms you were never meant to follow. You were meant to remember and lead. You may think the delays in your life are a sign of failure, but let me speak to that direct. They are not punishment. They are protection. Your frequency had to be refined, because if you had received what you asked for before you were spiritually calibrated, it would have crushed you. The silence wasn't rejection, it was refinement. And that's what chosen ones must learn, that their discomfort is not dysfunction, it is preparation. You weren't sent here to move fast. You were sent here to move true. And that's why the ringing, the numbers, and the symbols on your palms seem to show up at the exact same time. They are not random events. They are harmonic codes aligning in your field to wake you up fully to a mission your soul never forgot, even when your mind did. We are not done yet, because what you're about to hear in Block 3 may finally explain why your presence shifts atmospheres, why people are drawn to your light even when you feel dim, and why the weight you carry has never quite matched the life you've lived so far. There is something profoundly me about those who carry divine marks. To the outside world, you're just intuitive, sensitive, maybe even overly emotional. But those labels are far too small to hold the truth of what you carry. Because you don't just feel things, you decode them. You don't just sense danger, you intercept it before it arrives. You don't just walk into a room, you shift it. And it's not because of charisma or charm. It's because of charge. Your very existence emits a frequency that either stabilizes or disrupts the space around you. You were not created to blend in. You were designed to recalibrate reality. This is why your journey hasn't been smooth, because activation is not a gentle process. Many of you have been forced to let go of relationships that once defined your identity. Not because you stopped loving, but because your energy evolved. And as your frequency rose, the resonance around you broke. The M and the crescent moon on your palms are more than signs, they are energy signatures, proof. You were sent into this world not as a passenger, but as a pulse. And here's what the world will never understand. You were never meant to be understood. Chosen ones often live between worlds, feeling too spiritual for the practical, too grounded for the mystical. You live with your feet on the earth, but your spirit wired to another dimension. That's why certain conversations feel dull, why small talk exhausts you, why you often feel like the only one in the room who can see what's about to break. That's because your soul is reading the frequency beneath the surface, while everyone else is hypnotized by the noise above it. You were trained in silence, refined in solitude, and activated in obscurity. Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling like you just came back from another place? Have you ever felt pressure in your ears during meditation or while lying in bed at night as if something unseen is trying to speak? That's because the mess, words, it's in vibration, and you've been hearing it long before you even knew how to interpret it. There's a reason why people are drawn to you when they're falling apart. They sense the quiet order in your chaos, the deep presence you hold, even when your own heart is hurting. You've been the sanctuary for so many, and yet, when your walls start to crack, you rarely find someone who knows how to hold you the way you've held them. That is not failure. That is function. You were designed with emotional gravity, a soul magnet that pulls others out of despair. But very few have the tools to hold the weight of your light in return. That's why you felt abandoned by those you helped, and forgotten in rooms you once carried. And still, you rise. And still, you glow. The number 1717 has been appearing to many of you lately. It's no coincidence. It's the number of soul stabilization, a signal that your dual mission of breaking cycles and guiding others is entering a new direction. See it, especially after moments of doubt. Know that it is a divine green light. You are not broken. You are breaking through. Let's go deeper into the symbols on your palm. The M. This isn't just an initial. In ancient symbology, the M represents mutation, metamorphosis, mission. It is the curve that connects two peaks, the climb and the descent, symbolizing a soul that has gone through the valley and returned with wisdom. You didn't learn your gifts from school or books. You earned them through survival, through still choosing love when the world gave you every reason not to. And the crescent moon, found near the lifeline, often subtle, but always precise, is the seal of sacred memory. It means your intuition is not a reflex. It is a recollection. You aren't sensing things randomly. You are remembering truths that your soul has always known. That's why lies feel sharp in your body, why crowds make your skin tighten, why silence feels like a message instead of emptiness. Decoding a world most are still blind to, and that comes at a cost. But make no mistake, your presence is not fragile. It is finely tuned. The ringing in your ear is not tinnitus. It's a spiritual alert. And the fact that you're still hearing it, even when the rest of the world is asleep, means the signal is still active. You're still needed. You're still here because your contract is still unfolding. And let's talk about that heaviness you've been feeling lately. Not sadness, not exhaustion, but that deep internal ache as if something ancient is waking up inside you. That's your soul expanding. And expansion hurts. It pulls apart the beliefs that no longer serve you. It stretches your emotions beyond what logic can justify. But that pressure, it's sacred because the universe never sends energy without purpose. If it's heavy, it's because it matters. You've likely started rejecting things you once tolerated. Music, media, conversations, even food your system doesn't match your frequency. That's not picky, that's prophetic recalibration. You've entered a state where your entire being is aligning to your original assignment. And as that happens, something strange will occur. People will either gravitate toward you more than ever, or they'll disappear. Both are answers. Both are sacred. Because you are becoming a mirror of truth, and not everyone is ready to see themselves reflected in that mirror. But you didn't come here to be comfortable. You came here to be clear. And clarity is a threat in a world addicted to confusion. So the next time you hear the ringing, feel the pull, or see the number 1717, pause. Trace the M on your palm. Honor the moon. And remember, you are not being haunted by these signs. You are being hailed by heaven. Your role is not accidental. It is architectural. You are helping shape a new spiritual foundation simply by remembering who you are. You felt it for a long language to name it. That sense that your path is different, that your emotions arrive louder, that your timing never fits the crowd. While others live in patterns, you live in pauses. While others chase goals, you wait for green lights from the unseen. And still, after everything, after the delays, the losses, the misunderstood moments, you've never quite been able to let go of the feeling that you were meant for something more. And that feeling wasn't delusion. It was design. It's time we say it plainly. Those with the letter M and the crescent moon on their palms weren't sent here to be followers. They are carriers. Carriers of frequency, of blueprints, of ancient assignments hidden in the human body. You've likely noticed that your life unfolds in strange timing. Things don't come when they should. Opportunities appear when you least expect, often when you've already surrendered. The signals you've been receiving, whether in the form of ringing, dreams, repeated numbers, or inner pulls, are breadcrumbs left by your higher self, leading you back to the version of you that this world tried to erase. And here's the truth. The world wasn't prepared for you. That's why it tried to reduce you. You were called sensitive, dramatic, too much. When you told people about your dreams, your intuition, your insights, they brushed it off. They told you to be realistic. But they didn't realize you weren't reacting to the physical world. You were responding to frequencies beneath it. Because your ears don't just hear, they tune. Your hands don't just hold, they transmit. Your presence doesn't just exist, it adjusts space. And that's not fantasy. That's the science of spirit. Many of you carry not only the M and the crescent moon, but also a strange knowing that's hard to explain. A sense that someone is always watching, that your presence that shows up just when you need it. This isn't paranoia. This is divine accompaniment. Those who are marked are rarely left alone, even when they sense energy. You interpret the codes buried inside it. That's why the ringing isn't random. That's why the crescent hasn't faded. That's why your voice carries a strange power, even when you whisper. And why your silence sometimes speaks louder than other people's noise. Even when you tried to live small, the signs wouldn't leave. Because you can't deactivate what heaven encoded. Let's talk about the number 404. It's not just an internet error code. Spiritually, 404 is a sacred interruption. It means what you're looking for isn't gone, it's being rebuilt. If this number keeps appearing after failure or loss, It's not bad news. It's confirmation that your spiritual architecture is under reconstruction. Your higher path is being recoded with new clarity. The detour wasn't denial, it was design. And if you've recently seen 1313, understand this: it's a twin gate. It appears before transitions when both to walk forward with both parts of yourself intact. No more hiding, no more shrinking. Your authenticity is your assignment. And your spiritual power doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. You see, when we talk about chosen ones, we're not talking about superiority. We're talking about responsibility. You were sent here to remember what others forgot, to bring order where chaos has become normal, to feel deeply, honestly, relentlessly so you could transmute pain into clarity. And that's why your tears matter. That's why your dreams matter. That's why your voice, even when it shakes, still has the ability to break spiritual silence in the lives of others. You are not here because of what you do. You are here because of what you carry. And what you carry, those symbols in your palms, those vibrations in your ears, those echoes in your mind, are the remnants of a contract made before your birth. You didn't come here to survive the world. You came. Shift doesn't always happen through action. Sometimes it happens through alignment, by standing fully in who you are, by saying no when you mean it, by removing yourself from what drains you, by following the codes that whisper instead of scream. That's what it means to be chosen. It's not about being flashy. It's about being fluent in the silent language of spirit, and it's time to stop apologizing for that fluency. This is your permission to trust what doesn't make sense to others. This is your reminder that your delays were sacred timing. This is your confirmation that your loneliness wasn't punishment, it was positioning. This is your moment to reclaim the truth. Your hands have always known what your mind was still trying to forget. Trace the M again. See how it rises like a mountain and returns like a wave? That is the path of the ancient soul. Rise, return, rise again. Now touch the crescent. Feel how it curves like a question mark. Stay curious. To remember that mystery is not the absence of answers, it is the presence of the sacred. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are the carrier of a vibration that doesn't need to prove itself. And the more you walk in that vibration, the more your world will mirror it. That's why your dreams feel more vivid, why time feels distorted, why you feel both exhausted and energized in the same breath. You are not just waking up. You are activating. You are not waiting on destiny. You are embodying it. And that's why this message found you now. Because something in your field has shifted. Because the signal got stronger. Because your palms, your pulse, your path, they all aligned.